Mesdames et messieurs, chers collègues, bienvenue à cette 32e édition de remise des prix des agents du service extérieur. Welcome to the 32nd Annual PAFSO Awards.
Bonjour tout le monde, je suis Pamela Isfeld, la présidente de l'APASE. I'm very pleased to be able to congratulate the recipients of 2022's Foreign Service Awards. L'année dernière a continué à être un défi pour le service extérieur et pour le monde. There's no denying that we're living in a VUCA world. It is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. We're still dealing with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on our communities, psychological health, and economic lives. The threats posed by climate change are growing sharper, and we have seen the impact of war and political instability in Ukraine and places like Afghanistan. L'année dernière, j'ai noté que tout le monde était à la recherche des certitudes, mais celle-ci était très difficile à trouver. Cette situation n'a pas changé. Throughout all this, PAFSO members have risen to the challenge. I've been very proud to see our members working long hours at missions abroad and in Canada to serve Canadians and advance our nation's interests under very difficult circumstances. Les lauréats de cette année témoignent de l'excellence du travail accompli au milieu très difficile. Their competence, compassion, and genuine care for each other, as well as for those they serve, showcase the best of our profession and its values, even under very adverse circumstances. On behalf of PAFSO and its members, I thank all the winners for exemplifying the best of what the Foreign Service can be and making us all proud. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
11 nominations were received for this year's awards. En ordre alphabétique, voici ceux et celles qui ont été nominés. Zeynab Aliyeva. Erin Brouse. Natalie Claringbull. Marie-Hélène Cormier. Patricia Hartman. Andrea Kostachuk. Glenn McDougall. Pokana Meek. Denis Roussel. Jean Sénécal. Rebecca Van Vlasselaer. Bravo à tous les nominés. Thank you for exemplifying the very best qualities of the Canadian Foreign Service. As usual, we were fortunate to have a distinguished panel of judges who selected this year's recipients. Nous remercions les membres du jury suivant pour leur soutien au programme des Prix de l'APASE. Mr. Bill Crosby. Madame Sharon Choman. Madame Emmanuelle Latraverse. Ms. Meredith Preston McGee. Professor Teddy Y. Sammy. Madame Nadia Théodore. It is with great sadness that we recognize the passing of Ms. Deborah Chatsis, a recent addition to the PAFSO Judges panel in 2022. As Deborah noted in her Twitter bio, she was Cree, a retired Foreign Service officer, and former ambassador to Vietnam, Guatemala, and Belize. She was also a proud Saskatchewan resident, a Fulbright scholar, a recipient of the Order of Canada, and one of the first Indigenous women to join the Foreign Service. She led a remarkable 30-year career within the Government of Canada and Global Affairs Canada, and was a true champion of the Foreign Service. In November 2021, the Canadian Ambassadors Alumni Association and PAFSO established the annual Deborah Chatsis Indigenous Scholarship in International Affairs at Colton University. Information on how to contribute can be found on PAFSO's website. And now to our awards winners. This year, 4 award recipients were chosen. Voici les lauréats en ordre alphabétique. Zeynab Aliyeva. As a highly sought-after political and security reporting officer, Zeynab Aliyeva has helped to establish greater collaboration and communication across GAC and the Government of Canada as a whole. As a talented polyglot, she uses her language skills to reach a deeper social and cultural understanding of conflicts, and applies her knowledge of linguistic nuances and ability to build trust to gain access to individuals who would not otherwise be available to Western diplomats. As a result, Zeynab consistently generates political reporting that fills knowledge gaps in Canadian analysis on complex situations. In Afghanistan, Zeynab oversaw the Sarposa prison reconstruction and reported on the conditions of Afghan detainees, which was of significant importance due to human rights sensitivities. Sur une période de 3 ans, dans le rôle de correspondante pour l'Irak sur la sécurité mondiale, Zeynab s'est démarquée en tant qu'experte canadienne sur la dynamique terrain dans ce pays. Malgré le fait qu'elle a dû être évacuée en Pologne suite à l'invasion russe en Ukraine, Zeynab a rédigé des rapports qui ont façonné les positions et la politique canadienne sur des questions importantes. Son expertise, son travail acharné et son dévouement envers le Canada et le service extérieur sont assurément dignes de reconnaissance.
Je suis heureux de vous présenter une lauréate qui incarne les meilleures qualités d'une agente du service extérieur. Elle a servi dans certaines de nos missions les plus difficiles à l'étranger, notamment en Irak, à partir du Koweït et en Afghanistan. Dans son rôle actuel à l'ambassade du Canada en Ukraine, elle a recueilli et analysé des informations importantes alors même que la guerre se déroulait. In fact, she is one of the most prolific report writers in the history of GAC's Global Security Reporting Program. She is a role model for how to serve with dedication and professionalism during a crisis. I am delighted to present this PAFSO Award to Zeynab Aliyeva.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Zeynab Aliyeva coming to your screens from Warsaw, Poland. I am here today because we were evacuated from Ukraine in February 2022 as a result of the Russian invasion. I do not have enough words in my vocabulary to describe what an honor it is to receive this award. And when I found out I was a recipient, I was overwhelmed with emotion. I am just a girl from Azerbaijan, and this is so unlikely and so unexpected. I never thought that one day I would be among the ranks of Canadian Foreign Service officers receiving a PAFSO award. And for this, I want to thank my colleagues who nominated me, my managers who supported this, PAFSO and the committee. This means the world to me. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, in fact, it was the Canadian Foreign Service officer who got me into this. And I don't mean just this video, but this country as well. In 1999, I was working for UNHCR in Azerbaijan when I met Canadian Immigration Program Manager, who insisted that I migrate to Canada. She said that, who knows, maybe one day you will be able to represent Canada abroad, like me. And let me tell you, At the time, it seemed like such a fantasy, so unattainable. But with the help of my friends and colleagues and the support of my managers, mostly Foreign Service officers as well, whom I was very lucky to encounter over the years, I finally got there. My transition to Foreign Service and the job of a Foreign Service officer was a smooth one. After all, I speak foreign languages, I know how to write reports, how to brief up, and when needed, I can be overly dramatic. I was very fortunate to have 3 postings abroad with Global Affairs Canada in Afghanistan, in Kuwait, and Ukraine. The best thing that came out of my posting in Afghanistan is my husband, Danny. You know, truly, if you really want to get to know somebody, there is nothing like spending a lot of time with them together in a bomb shelter. The best thing that came out of my posting in Kuwait are my colleagues. This is my management, my managers in Baghdad, as well as my fellow Global Security Reporting Program officers posted to the region. Without them, I would not be sitting here today and accepting this award. My job in Kuwait entailed travel to Iraq every month. I was required to fly backwards to Qatar and then onwards to Iraq every month. Why do you ask? Because of the history and the lack of direct flights between the 2 countries. And I mean, I wasn't able to get a lot of frequent flyer points, but I was able to get myself a nice gravy boat, like a true Canadian Foreign Service officer. And this brings us to Ukraine. Ukraine has a very special place in my heart. I actually lived there when I was young with my parents. I finished high school there and I have family ties to the country. And because history likes to repeat itself, my daughter Lizzie also finished high school in Ukraine in 2020. You know, in 2003, I gave up a posting with United Nations in Eastern Europe to come to Canada. And now Canada sent me to Eastern Europe, to Ukraine, to represent it. What are the chances? Ladies and gentlemen, I am on your screens today because of people like Crystal and Andrew, Michael and Roman, my mentors, you know who you are, and my all-time favorite immigration program manager, Maria. Without them, I would not be here today. All these people took a chance on a girl from Azerbaijan and showed me what it truly means to represent Canada and serve Canadians abroad. I gratefully accept this award on behalf of myself and on behalf of my fellow officers from the Global Security Reporting Program. Thank you, PAFSO. Thank you, Canada. Slava Ukraini.
Erin Brouse. In 2021, the crisis in Afghanistan resulted in Taliban persecution of women leaders, human rights advocates, judges, persecuted religious minorities, members of the LGBTQ community, and journalists. Erin Brouse felt that Canada had a moral obligation to these vulnerable people. So before even settling into her new posting in Cairo, she volunteered to lead resettlement application processing efforts in Kabul and Tajikistan. She found innovative ways to move forward compelling cases, finding solutions for families in increasing danger. C'est grâce à la détermination et à la passion de personnes comme Erin que le Canada respecte ses obligations internationales envers les réfugiés. La majorité de ceux-ci n'ont toujours pas de solution durable et se trouvent souvent dans des situations désespérées, pendant des années, des décennies, voire des générations. Voilà pourquoi Erin travaille sans relâche. Elle met en pratique son expérience et les leçons qu'elle a retenues pour venir en aide non seulement aux réfugiés d'Afghanistan, mais également du monde entier. Le Canada devrait être fier de compter sur une agente du service extérieur aussi engagée et déterminée.
The already impressive career of Erin Brouse took another step forward when she took on the role of IRCC Operations Manager for the evacuation from Kabul, under the special immigration measures of August 2021. Ses collègues vous diront que ce n'est qu'un exemple de son rayonnement, de sa façon de les inspirer, de les diriger avec compassion. Elle défend ardemment l'élargissement de solutions durables pour les réfugiés tout en demeurant une collègue, un mentor et une agente estimée du service extérieur. Congratulations, Erin.
Hello, colleagues, friends. I am incredibly humbled and honored to be one of PAFSO's award recipients this year. I admit I felt a little awkward when I learned I'd been nominated for the award, particularly when I know so many inspiring and incredible colleagues across IRCC and GAG that have been involved in Canada's work in Afghanistan for many years. My recent role there was limited and in many ways felt quite incomplete. It's taken me some time to let go of the regret of not being able to do more. When I joined the Foreign Service in 1998, one of my trainers warned me that my idealism was not well suited to this job. She cautioned me that as a public servant, I would be required to maintain neutrality and impartiality in undertaking my work, even when the policies and decisions of the government of the day might not align with my personal principles or ideals. I will admit, it has sometimes been difficult for me to reconcile the values that motivate me with some of the programs I implement in the world of migration. And that is because migration involves people. And especially in the realm of Canada's humanitarian and refugee programs, those people are frequently desperate, traumatized, and afraid. And it's hard to be neutral and impartial in the face of that. So as an idealist public servant, dealing with that moral sense of urgency and responsibility, I try to remember the other key function of a vibrant public service: to provide objective, honest, and candid advice. To be impartial and neutral does not mean we're expected to be unthinkingly silent. When our views and opinions are sought, we have a responsibility to be direct about the consequences of making one decision over another or redirecting our efforts in one area to respond to crises elsewhere. Our focus on Afghanistan, and now Ukraine, is based on a set of moral imperatives. I hope they will serve to remind us of the many millions of others that are displaced and seeking protection. I hope that the feelings of obligation, urgency, and responsibility we are feeling right now in the context of these crises will extend to refugees more broadly. As Foreign Service officers, I hope we will use our deep expertise and local knowledge to ensure the refugees from DR Congo, Somalia, South Sudan, Eritrea, and elsewhere stay on the radar. I want to thank those who nominated me, my managers and mentors, the colleagues that support me every day, and especially my locally engaged staff. They are the people who continue to encourage me and value me for my idealism. I feel truly privileged to have such a meaningful vocation that allows me to make a small difference every day, and I'm so proud to work with such an amazing group of public servants. Thank you.
Marie-Hélène Cormier. À l'automne 2021, Marie-Hélène a participé à la formation d'une nouvelle cohorte d'agents du service extérieur d'IRCC. Elle les a formés sur les principes et l'application de la Loi sur l'immigration et la protection des réfugiés, la LIPR. Déjà un défi de taille dans des circonstances idéales, mais d'autant plus difficile dans le contexte des restrictions liées à la COVID. Le programme de formation virtuelle créait un niveau d'anxiété et de stress élevé pour ce groupe fraîchement moulu d'agents du service extérieur qui n'avaient aucune expérience du traitement des dossiers d'immigration. Marie-Hélène s'est rendue disponible même à l'extérieur des heures de cours pour répondre à leurs questions. Elle a partagé son expérience et a prodigué conseils et sagesse. Pendant les 6 semaines de cette formation à temps plein, son engagement, son style empathique et son enthousiasme constant ont rendu cette expérience des plus enrichissantes. tous les membres de cette cohorte ont réussi avec succès. Marie-Hélène provides that kind of incredible support to everyone she trains. At the start of their careers, she gives them the tools they need to be successful officers. Her ability to connect with people and create a training space that fosters the success of all participants is deserving of recognition and a PAFSO Award.
Un des défis les plus importants pour toutes les organisations en temps de pandémie a été la formation. Dans un contexte d'apprentissage virtuel, il n'y a qu'une personne aussi spéciale qui réussisse à impliquer réellement les apprenants. More patience and care is required in order for everyone to succeed. The recipient of this award has taken on that role, and in fact, some of you have described her as super teacher. She is definitely worthy of this recognition. Félicitations, Marie-Hélène.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Marie-Hélène Cormier et je suis agente du service extérieur en immigration et depuis quelques années formatrice pour le réseau international de IRCC. J'ai été nommée pour ce prix de l'APASE par un groupe d'agents de migration qui commencent leur carrière et à qui mon équipe a récemment enseigné. Ça me touche énormément que cette nomination vienne de ces agents de la relève parce que c'est extrêmement important pour moi de transmettre cette passion que j'ai pour mon travail à cette nouvelle génération. J'ai joint IRCC en 2006. J'ai eu le privilège de travailler à Pékin, Damas, Varsovie, Dakar, Londres et à Gatineau. Mon parcours a été parsemé de défis importants à relever et aussi de rencontres marquantes. Des collègues qui ont été pour moi des mentors qui, par leur vision, leur bienveillance, leur créativité, ont contribué à mon développement professionnel. Ces collègues continuent à m'inspirer au quotidien. Et la personne, la formatrice que je suis aujourd'hui, est en fait la somme de toutes ces expériences et rencontres des dernières années. Ceux qui me connaissent savent que c'était mon rêve de joindre l'équipe de formation du réseau international. Je trouve fantastique d'avoir cette possibilité de rencontrer autant de collègues d'univers variés par le biais de mon travail et de pouvoir les inspirer, si possible, j'essaie. Ultimement, c'est ça le but, la transmission de cette passion, de cette inspiration. Et bien sûr, je ne suis pas seule dans cette merveilleuse aventure de la formation. Mes collègues de RIRT, passés et présents, vous savez qui vous êtes et vous êtes, dans mon cœur, des stars. I'm incredibly honored to receive the PAFSO Award this year and deeply humbled to have touched people to the point of receiving such a recognition. Many of my colleagues have gone above and beyond this year, whether it's through their work on Afghanistan, Ukraine, in relation to COVID, or towards the achievement of very high immigration levels. The work that has been done by my colleagues in the last few months has been tremendous, and many are deserving of this award. So I receive it today with both great joy and gratitude. Je tiens à remercier de tout cœur les collègues qui m'ont nommé, qui ont supporté aussi cette nomination, le comité des prix de l'APASE et les juges distingués. I share this award today with all those people who have allowed me to be the best I can be through their advice, their kindness, their friendship. I think of my partner, Alex, who has always encouraged me, my family and friends, all my colleagues in training and at RCC in general, the CBSA and GAC colleagues I've met in Canada and abroad, the LES in Beijing, Damascus, Warsaw, Dakar, London. Thank you for having welcomed me and taught me so much. Et à vous, public derrière l'écran, eh bien, je vous salue et j'espère avoir la chance de vous croiser en classe ou ailleurs dans un avenir proche. Merci.
Rebecca van Vlasselaer. During her 3-year assignment in Lebanon, Rebecca van Vlasselaer faced challenges that many would not encounter in their entire career. A global pandemic, supply shortages, civil unrest, and the largest non-nuclear blast in history. After the explosion, Rebecca coordinated all necessary tasks and brought in emergency employees to tackle repairs. She managed this in a high-risk country experiencing economic crisis at a time when everyone risked exposure to COVID. Au cœur d'une catastrophe sans précédent, elle a gardé son calme et a su maintenir le moral de son équipe. Elle a trouvé des solutions innovantes pour que le personnel puisse rapidement retrouver des conditions de vie convenables, dont l'électricité, les services Internet et les besoins essentiels. Malgré les nombreux impacts sur le personnel et surtout grâce aux efforts extraordinaires de l'équipe d'intervention d'urgence, l'ambassade n'a été fermée qu'une seule journée. Rebecca's efforts are the standard of a great leader deserving of a PAFSO Award.
On August 4, 2020, the largest non-nuclear blast in human history ripped through the city of Beirut. The blast wave devastated the city, including striking the Canadian Embassy, destroying CBS staff quarters, and causing injuries to personnel. Parmi les meubles détruits, les éclats de vitres et le sang, l'équipe d'intervention d'urgence s'est chargée de soigner les personnes et de composer avec les séquelles de l'événement. Comme agente de gestion consulaire, notre prochaine lauréate était un membre clé de cette équipe. Félicitations, Rebecca van Vlasselaer.
Greetings from Delhi. While I would love to be back in Ottawa with all of you, I am grateful for the opportunity to connect virtually. Luckily, we've had some practice with that over the last couple of years. C'est un immense honneur de recevoir ce prix et je suis très touchée d'être reconnue par la communauté, mes collègues et amis. Je fus incroyablement privilégiée au cours de ma carrière d'avoir travaillé auprès de tant de collègues dévoués et résilients qui tiennent à faire de ce monde un meilleur endroit. And that's what I'd like to speak about today. I have always enjoyed the diverse nature of the work we do as management and consular officers. One day we may be responding to a natural disaster or civil unrest. On another, we are travel agents or dealing with a fire in an SQ, or maybe asked to become accountants, doctors, cold chain experts, or even engineers. I like to think we're the MacGyvers of the public service. Just hand us a paperclip and some tinfoil and we'll get the job done, one way or another. Our relationships are the pillar and strength of who we are and what we do. And of course, at the heart of our work are our clients. We advise and support consular clients, some of whom are experiencing terrible tragedies. The work we do matters, and it's truly a privilege to get to play a part in everything we accomplish together. During my first postings to Panama and Hong Kong, I had the chance to go on several temporary duties to respond to crises such as the Arab Spring in 2011, where I worked in Damascus. And in 2014, I was helping on the front lines during the emergency response to Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. These experiences reinforced in me that the work we do can make a real positive difference in people's lives. They have taught me how fortunate we are to be from and represent a country with strong democratic values, solid public infrastructure, and strong and effective institutions. It also reminds me how quickly things can change and to enjoy every moment. My previous posting in Beirut from 2018 to 21 was definitely the most interesting and challenging of postings. I would even call it a roller coaster ride. Our team was faced with civil unrest starting in October 2019, soon followed by the economic collapse of the country, where we encountered a lack of medication and persistent food and fuel shortages resulting from years of corruption. Then came the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, which created the backdrop against which we all had to adapt and adjust personally and professionally. I won't say how it made my job more difficult, because there's no one here who has not been similarly affected. However, this was followed by the devastating explosion on August 4th, 2020 at the Beirut port, one of the largest non-nuclear explosions recorded in history. The blast obliterated the city, including most of the staff quarters. The shock of the explosion was immense. Most of the CBS there at the time and many LES were impacted personally. The images of the explosion and aftermath will stay with us forever. The team's response to this devastating explosion was nothing less than a Herculean effort, with very limited resources and people on the ground, while everything in town was badly damaged. The embassy team came together and worked tirelessly day and night to respond to the initial aftermath of the blast and to help ensure that our duty of care was met. We developed a property and consular team operations center working from a hotel which had not been destroyed outside of the city. Most of the CBS were able to return to their staff quarters within 2 months, which was a huge accomplishment, all thanks to the great teamwork from the embassy staff. The shock of living through the blast and its aftermath, I might even say surviving it, gives you more energy to help others get through it too. Les 2 dernières années nous ont montré que nous ne pouvons rien prendre pour acquis. La relative stabilité que nous avions connue, du moins en Occident, est fragile et peut s'écrouler en un instant. We might have assumed that democracy was a rock that couldn't be cracked, but now it is under threat in more places than ever and uncomfortably closer to home. As the world changes, so has the importance and relevance of our work as Foreign Service officers. As Global Affairs Canada adapts to meet the challenges in this changing world, there is incredible pressure on the MCO community abroad. We must rebalance ourselves to adapt to the new reality and demands, but we must remember to take care of ourselves and of each other, as this pressure does come with an emotional toll. As we serve our country during these fast-changing and challenging times, we carry an important responsibility, but we also have an opportunity to make a difference by bringing new ideas and innovation to the department and to the world. I am proud of what our colleagues have accomplished around the world. They are adaptable, resilient, strong, professional, and dedicated, always stepping up to the plate during these past 2 years. While we experience increased global challenges, we must always remember the values we stand for and be willing to protect them wherever we can. It is those values that give us the means to be good at our jobs and to help others in the process. D'abord, j'aimerais remercier mes collègues et amis avec qui j'ai travaillé en étroite collaboration au cours des 19 dernières années à l'AMC. L'un des avantages d'être membre de la communauté du service extérieur est d'avoir la chance de nouer des amitiés avec des collègues partout dans le monde. À mes superbes DMCO à Delhi et Beyrouth, vous êtes une source d'inspiration et devriez être fiers du travail que vous faites, malheureusement souvent dans des circonstances incroyablement difficiles. À l'équipe inébranlable, créative et généreuse de Beyrouth, prenez un moment afin de réaliser vos accomplissements. Votre persévérance et votre engagement face à l'adversité sont tout simplement extraordinaires. Merci à mes menteurs et amis, Sean, Robert, Michael, Amanda, de qui j'ai tant appris au fil des ans. Un merci également très spécial à Emmanuel, Chantal et Greg, qui ont été des piliers et exemples de leadership au Liban pendant ces périodes plutôt chaotiques. Je tiens à remercier nos collègues du secteur de la plateforme internationale qui ont tant soutenu la communauté AGC au cours des dernières années. Plus important encore, je tiens à remercier mon père qui m'a toujours soutenu dans ma carrière. Merci encore pour ce prix, il signifie vraiment beaucoup.
Thank you and congratulations to the 2022 PAFSO Awards recipients, Zeynab, Erin, Marie-Hélène and Rebecca. Vous démontrez les qualités d'excellence du service extérieur, notamment l'initiative, la créativité et le dévouement au service du Canada. Vous êtes une inspiration pour vos collègues. Today we celebrate you and your accomplishments.